Maybe you like this car, or maybe this one. Or how about this one? Now, what do all of these cars have in common? If you guessed that they are powered by combustion engines, you would be correct. Now, in most parts of this country, you can easily modify these cars. Take the cats off, tune the cars, have the cars represent your style. You can build these cars to your heart's desire without many roadblocks or inconveniences. Now, here in California, it's a little different because of our 2-year smog requirement. I'm going to cover what smogging a car in California used to be like, this new, even more stringent smog law change, what our options are as car guys, and what I think will happen next. Before we get started, do me a favor, go and smash that subscribe button down below. It really helps out the channel. Let's get to 1K together. When I used to live in Illinois, I had an STI with a straight pipe, short ram intake, and a tune. Now, when I went in for inspection, the guy had to scream over my exhaust noise just to tell me that I passed. In the state of Illinois, at the time, all they were checking for was a check engine light, which I didn't have, so I passed. Now, when you compare that to California, it is the polar opposite. So let me break this down for those of you that don't live here in California. Every 2 years, you have to go in for smog, and this is essentially what it looks like. When you get that letter in the mail saying to register your car, you have to smog it, you essentially have to take all of the parts off of your car that are not carb legal. You then have to go in for smog and then put everything back. Now, if your parts are unbranded or low-key, you may get lucky and the smog tech won't notice what parts you have or what's aftermarket. There are only 2 ways to work around the smog requirement in the state of California. You either have to dirty smog your car or you have to register your car out of state. Now, for those that don't know, dirty smogging your car is essentially you are paying a shop to smog and pass your car and give you a pass certificate without ever going to the shop and without them even seeing your car. Now, as you can imagine, this was an annoyance for all car people living in California every 2 years. Now, I'm not even talking about getting pulled over when cops say, hey, pop your hood, I want to check for parts, and then they manually send you to an inspection station to make sure all of your parts are legal. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, smog laws got even more stringent here in California.
I don't like my life.
So now, not only will smog shops be plugging into your ECU and checking for carb readiness, popping your hood and checking for aftermarket parts, when they check your ECU now, they will also be looking for any sort of aftermarket tune. Now, previously, they only checked for carb readiness, which was fine because most tuners in California across all platforms found a workaround so that you could still pass smog even with an aftermarket tune. So now, what options do car guys have in California? Besides going fully stock, of course, which very few of us want to do or can even do if our cars are too heavily modified to source all of the stock parts again, you're basically narrowed down to 2 options. The first one being getting dirty smog. Now, for those of you that have actually gotten dirty smogged, you know how expensive it is. In the state of California, getting your car smogged is usually between $60 and $70. Getting a dirty smog can be $300, $400, and sometimes more, getting close to $1,000 depending on the shop and the area you live in. And that is expecting that dirty smog shops can still do what they do with these new smog law changes. And also, dirty smogging your car won't help you in a pop-up inspection. Yes, you heard me right. In Los Angeles, they have pop-up inspection stations where basically they will pop up a tent with a bunch of police officers where they think modified cars are traveling through. They will stop you, put a mirror underneath your car, write you a fat ticket for anything that's modified, and then tell you have until a certain date to have it completely fixed and put back to stock. So that leaves us with our second option, which is registering the car outside of California. But the problem is, if you have out-of-state plates but a California driver's license, the first thing the officer is going to say is, why do you have out-of-state plates? If you live here, you have to register your car here. Now, if you have an address out of state and you're able to actually get mail to that address, you could get a driver's license in that state, register the car in that state, have plates in that state, and everything seems a little bit more legit. But if you're getting continually pulled over by the same police officer, which is not super likely, but it can happen, they're going to catch on to you and know that you actually live here, but you're just registering your car out of state. Now, this is what I think will happen next. Some people are going to move out of California just because they don't want to deal with it anymore. Others are going to dirty smog their car and register their cars out of state. But California hates modified cars. The laws are going to get more and more stringent, pushing people to go electric or to just get out. And that sucks. Modifying cars is something that is near and dear to us all. We are now going to have to jump through so many hoops just to keep our passion alive and keep doing what we love. I don't know about all this, man. We're gonna have to end up registering our cars out of state. That's the only thing I can think of. What are you guys doing that live in California? For those of you that don't live in California, this must blow your mind, because when I first moved to California and they told me what smog was, I had a heart attack. I did not think they were serious. That's gonna be it for this one. Go and smash that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.